Oh yeah! When I first saw this movie years ago, I felt like everyone in the world had seen it but me. This is going to be interesting hearing from clevers who are just seeing it for the first time now. This is one of my 5 favorite movies ever made that I have ever seen in my life. I first watched this movie, I think, when I was 17 or 18. But I watched parts of it before when I was about 15, sneaking downstairs and watching bits of it on HBO, you know? That was one of the more rebellious things I did at that age. The first thing I saw was Mia's overdose scene, and that was when I started to get what all the hype was about with Pulp Fiction. I remember talking to my dad about the movie because he'd seen it, and I really wanted to talk to somebody about it because it made me so excited. And I tried to act like, oh yeah, I read about this scene on the internet where Uma Thurman da 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 da, and my dad was pretty cool, but I just know he could tell I'd actually watched it. If Mia had died, Marcellus probably would have killed Lance too, just to be thorough. Not because he didn't help, but because it was his drugs that he gave to Vincent that Mia overdosed on. This is the finest movie magic. Totally worthy of all the hype. It's one memorable scene, memorable line, memorable moment, memorable character after another. It's legendary. There's so much realness and coolness that you can keep watching it and finding new things. Endlessly quotable too. I use lines from this movie in my day-to-day life. But that's a bold statement. A few random observations. This is where I first learned what a pilot was. I thought a pilot was just the first episode of a show. I didn't know they were used to decide what shows get picked up. That was illuminating. I love the scene at the beginning when Jules yelling at Brett. Jules clearly has a script planned out that he's following. He's probably gone through this routine with a couple of other marks. What does Marcellus Wallace look like? And he's getting frustrated because Brett keeps going off script. What? Or rather, Brett keeps forgetting his line and messing up Jules' whole flow, because Brett's part isn't that hard. What does Marcellus Wallace look like? What? Vincent and Jules look so suave and badass at the beginning in their black coats and ties. Once they switch to the beach gear, you can really see how out of shape they are, especially Vincent. At the end, they try to look all cool and badass as they stride out of the diner, and they even get the cool music, but there's still a couple guys in t-shirts and shorts carrying guns. Something I read somewhere, and I've been trying to work it out. There's a scene where Vincent bitches about some guy who keyed his car. Was that Butch? Did Butch key Vincent's car? Because that's what I read. Where is that implied? Or is that just some wild fan theory? Is that what's going on in the scene where they meet at the bar? Vincent's kind of rude to him for no reason. I don't know! Stop bothering me! Bit of trivia, watching this movie many times on many channels, I found that it's quite different whether you're watching it in widescreen or cropped for full screen. There's all these scenes between two characters that are two shots. So you have one character on either side of the screen having a conversation. But when it's cropped for full screen, you can only fit one character at a time in the shot. So they have to cut back and forth. So the full screen version has a lot more cuts than the widescreen. When you watch the widescreen, the same scene is one smooth, unbroken shot. As we all know, Quentin Tarantino likes women's feet, and he's not even shy about letting us know and bringing us in on it. Not only is every woman barefoot in nearly every scene, but there's the whole conversation about foot massages. I've given 1 million women 1 million foot massages, and they all meant something. We act like they don't, but they do, and that's what's so fucking cool. Everyone's entitled to their opinion, and nothing is absolute. But if you don't like this movie, just watch it again, and keep watching it until you get it, or until Stockholm Syndrome sets in and you like it anyway, because that's what kind of movie this is.